Yo, what's good? It's your man, 100 Grand, Ross with the Rock Never Stops. Yo, today I want to do a video about my man, Jonathan Kuminga. If you enjoyed this video, please smash the like button for me, hit subscribe and the bell for notifications. Yo, this is so beautiful when you make a prediction, you make a forecast about a player who everybody seems to be criticizing and out on, and you make a bold claim and then you see it come true. My man Jonathan Kuminga is doing just that for your boy. Now, some of y'all might not remember, but a couple years back, right, Jonathan Kuminga was a part of a heralded NBA draft class, right? I think it was the 2021 NBA draft, right? Now, what a lot of people overlooked when they saw that draft is they saw the top picks like Cade Cunningham and Jalen Green, and they saw guys like Franz Wagner and all these other dudes, right? And these dudes were great. These dudes are great. I'm not gonna shit on anybody. I'm not gonna act like they weren't talented. Evan Mobley, extremely talented. You got Scotty Barnes, extremely talented, right? You had a depth of talent in this draft. A lot of people were tanking just to get a high pick in this draft. But when I saw Jonathan Kuminga, I saw something special. I saw some rare, and when I say rare, I mean, damn it, some rare qualities and traits athletically and within his own physical abilities. And I want to get into that because it's going to frame why I saw what I saw and how it's a part of what we're seeing today. One, Jonathan Kuminga has what we call man strength, grown man strength, right? He's what you would call at a young age, a young man who has a grown man body. You might call him a man child, but there's been a few players in the NBA who you've been able to point to coming into the league who had this type of strength. One was LeBron James. Another one was Amari Stoudemire. Some of y'all may not remember him, but Amari Stoudemire was drafted to the Phoenix Suns, came in out of high school, right? About 6'10", kind of wiry athlete. And he came into the league in his rookie year. I remember there was a game against the San Antonio Spurs where he drove on Tim Duncan, gave him a shoulder, and Duncan bounced off of him, and he rose up and banged on him. And I said at that moment, this young man is different. This young man is different. Now here's Jonathan Kuminga. Jonathan Kuminga, he didn't go the traditional route of going into college playing for the NCAA. He went to the NBA G League. He challenged himself to raise the occasion of playing against NCAA All-Stars. He challenged himself to raise up to the level where he was going to be competing against grown men who are fighting for a chance to get into the NBA, knowing that he's going to have a bullseye on his back, playing for the G League Ignite team. He was going to be their starting forward who was going to be relied upon to carry much of the scoring burden. A lot of people point to Jalen Green. They don't realize Jalen Green was coming off the bench throughout that season. Jalen Green was a secondary scorer for most of that season. He was not the relied upon, hey, let's bring him off the screens and pin downs. Let's go ahead and run these plays for him. Jalen Green was still very raw. And so Jonathan Kuminga, especially throughout the early portion of the year, which means that the team game planned to have him as the lead scorer in their training camp to get prepared for the season. A 18-year-old, 17 going on 18-year-old young man comes into the G League, a grown man's league, probably the third best league I would say right now, behind the Spanish ACB league and the Euro League, right? Is right there in terms of talent and quality of play at the time of the G League Ignites team, right? And he comes in and he becomes the number one scorer. That to me says mentally he's built different. Not many 17, 18-year-old young men outside of maybe Scoot Henderson, who we're seeing right now, right, have the mental fortitude and toughness to be able to come into a grown man's league and compete and thrive. And that's what Jonathan Kuminga was able to do. So by the time he enters into the draft, I said, look, don't look at where he is now. Look at where he's come from and project where he's going. His rate of improvement over the course of coming over to the United States from the Congo, playing on different high school teams, right, bouncing around, figuring it out, right, while still developing. That shows a work ethic in spite of his circumstances and surroundings that allows him to continue to find success. That means that you can drop this kid anywhere. He's going to continue to do the things that internally drive him to succeed and become better. And what ends up happening is he gets drafted to the Golden State Warriors. Now, when he got drafted, I looked at the Raptors, and I'm a big Raptors fan. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm a big Raptors fan. I don't really, ride for a lot of teams, but the Raptors, I've shown a lot of respect to. And the Toronto Raptors drafted Scottie Barnes, and I wasn't mad at it because the things that was coming out, like I see Scottie Barnes as he's like this Giannis type, Magic Johnson type hybrid. Not as tall as Giannis, but he has like this playmaking, facilitating ability to be able to run a team like Magic used to at that size, at 6'9", right? But at the same time, he's got this stride and athleticism like a Giannis Antetokounmpo. This draft was incredible. But when the Raptors drafted Scottie Barnes, I said, look, I'm not mad at this pick. And you can look up my old videos. Said I'm not mad at the pick, but I think Jonathan Kuminga was the man to pick up because of what that team needed. That team needs a dominant scorer, somebody who can get downhill in a heartbeat naturally and attack the rim to create openings for everyone else. If you watch the Raptors even now, you see that that's what they keep trying to make Scottie Barnes into. And as much as Pascal Siakam has been able to do that, he's a little bit too finesse to really be like this imposing force that has this level of gravity that opens things up for everyone else. And I said, look, because of the international pedigree of the Toronto Raptors, they would do well to draft Jonathan Kuminga, seeing his trajectory of his development, knowing that in a few years, he could become the next Jaylen Brown, Kawhi Leonard, high-level natural scorer who then has the gravity to open things up for everyone else, right? They didn't do it, that's fine. Then he gets drafted by the Golden State Warriors, and all of a sudden, all these like whack pundits, we all saw Stephen A. Smith make up the lies about his work ethic and all this stuff over his rookie season and into his first off season after his rookie year, right? Stephen A. Smith was lying on the boy, and the Golden State Warriors had to come out and say, look, we have no problems with his work ethic. He's doing an amazing job, right? Then Jonathan Kuminga plays internationally for the Congo in the FIBA tournaments, right? He does really well being their go-to scorer. Has a great summer league. I mean, he was just taking his leaps and bounds. And then you also saw that they win an NBA championship before then. And then you got Andrew Wiggins and his rise. And so Jonathan Kuminga is trying to find his way, his place on a roster that doesn't necessarily need him, but they're utilizing him in a very specialized function, which I think is great. Having him be this lockdown defender, off-ball mover, really developing him early on like Kawhi Leonard was developed in San Antonio, which I think is a great way to start him off in his career. Also, not giving him heavy minutes early on, I find that it allows athletes to have a more sustainable career because they're not burning themselves out at a young age trying to play all these minutes and trying to dominate in this way all the time. All right. So I love how they're starting his career, but a lot of people, continue to sleep on him because they're like, look, he's not putting up these huge games like a Jalen Green might or Scottie Barnes, these other guys who are getting a chance to start. And I said, don't worry. Do not worry. Jonathan Kuminga is coming. It's coming. And now we're seeing it. Now we're seeing this kid. The moment he steps foot on the court, he knows what to do. He's growing in his basketball IQ. And he still has so much room to grow. Kind of like a Jaylen Brown. We saw similar things in Jaylen Brown. We said, man, this kid is, as his IQ and his skill catches up to his talent, to his physical abilities, he could be special. I don't think we saw this level of special from Jaylen Brown, right? Probably being one of the best two players in the NBA Finals on his team, right, for the Boston Celtics. But, you saw if he could put it together what could potentially be. And we're beginning to see that with Jonathan Kuminga as well. And it's really interesting to note that Jonathan Kuminga's progression coming in off the bench is coming just in time when the team needs him the most. And that shows that he also has the awareness, right, of when to step up, that he's built for this. He's built for this moment. He's not shying away from it. As a matter of fact, he's bringing some great energy. And if I'm the Golden State Warriors, I start looking more towards him than even a Jordan Poole. Because what Jonathan Kuminga does naturally and efficiently, Jordan Poole is still figuring out how to do. But as always, I want to know your opinion. What do you think of my man Jonathan Kuminga? What do you think his outlook is? What do you think he's eventually gonna be over the next 2 to 3 seasons coming up with the Golden State Warriors? Holler at me in the comment section. I'm gonna holler back. See y'all next time. Peace.